drive counts, and that's just something that we just got to harp on going into the next game.
So you have that kind of performance, but I'm sure that it's to your point, and how do you kind of look at it? I mean, you look at it as a great game. How do you kind of view that?
I say just incomplete. I mean, just understanding that everything I did good, everything that happened good in the game, it wasn't enough. I mean, so just harping on the little things going into that game when you're watching over it, or when you play them again. I mean, just understand that every breath, every little thing in that game matters, and that to take every play as serious as it could be the one that costs us.
I hear Patrick Mahomes' advice about the white cleats.
Yeah, I did hear the white cleat comment. I mean, that's obviously news coming from a bit.
Is that something you might pursue in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I'll look into it, but I like my cleats.
Do you think teams will play you differently after a game like that?
I feel like, everybody in our offense can go the distance, can have, a career game. So understand that, anybody in our offense, whether it's from Lamar, Derrick Henry, Bate, Zay, Mark, I mean, anybody can have that type of day to be able to take over a game, to be able to put our team in the best possibility to win. So, I mean, just having, those type of guys in the offense where you guys have to play everybody, correct or, responsible to be able to go the distance. I mean, it's just something you got to be careful.
You're going to have you get the home game finally. Really, it's not must win's not right, but it's the idea you got to get home after coming a loss. You're going to have the support behind you. How important do you feel Sunday is for you guys to get to where you want to go?
I mean, I feel like every week's important. I mean, our mantra every week is to be 1-0 when the week ends. So treating every game, like it's the last one, to be able to just, always start that winning streak and keep it. I mean, we preach on momentum, so this week would definitely be a right step to building that momentum.
Was there any part of you after the game that thought if I wore one size shoe lower, that's a touchdown?
I really just say, just always making sure. I mean, just taking that next, millisecond to make sure I'm in balance to be able to, celebrate and have that type of moment, to be able to go for two.
Both out there for a ton. You had a lot of catches and stuff. How much pressure do you think on the bye week?
I think it's awesome. I think we're two dynamic players, and I'm very excited and happy for him and the type of game that he had. And it's just about building our offense, building chemistry, and moving forward each week with a mindset that we're going to get better. We're going to become more versatile, and the better we are about spreading the ball around and making big plays, it's going to be hard for defense to game plan for that.
When you're in a game like that, whether it's you or someone else, and like you get hot, how much does that just roll over to the next play? You kind of need that momentum to get the offense going.
I think it's awesome. We have, like I said, we have so many guys, but there's not a selfish guy on this team, and that's the awesome part is you just continue to encourage and to continue to support those guys to make big plays. It's all about winning games, and that's where our goal is. We're upset that we didn't do that last week, and looking forward to this week.
Negotiated terms on site, right, and be as responsive as quickly as possible. And I think this was an unfortunate situation where that did not occur. And thank God for Kyle's situation, it wasn't worse. But here we are with the first game of the season. We got many more games to play. We just can't have that.
Is that something you guys look into? Is that something you guys open a formal inquiry into?
We've done our investigation. We've made the necessary parties aware of how we've got to improve, and I'm sure we will improve.
The Ravens have a stretch. I mean, they're playing a lot of games that are not on Sunday this year. I believe most of their games are not on Sunday, and then they have a stretch of 11 days or 10 days, they have 3 games.
Yep.
As these network deals going to spawn sprawl across all these distributors, and there are a lot of more special windows for games. What's the NFLPA's position on scheduling these games in a way that allows players to heal and doesn't give these guys such tight turnaround windows?
Yeah, I mean, I the business side of football aside, our position is to preserve our guys and allow them to heal and recover in sufficient time to be prepared to do their best on the field. And as you point out, when it's constrained the way it is, it's not always ideal. So part of on go-forward basis is to determine from our membership, where does that rank in terms of their priorities? So whether it's economic, whether it's working conditions, whatever the case may be, where does that rank? And we've been asking the guys just that. So in the case of the Ravens, yes, having more time to recover would be ideal. But some of it is now in the aftermath of decisions have already been made. So on a go-forward basis, whether it's the Ravens or any of the other 32 teams, how can we do better? So there are a variety of ways to get at that. Some have proposed 2 bye weeks, some have proposed all sorts of things, and so we're looking at all that in the anticipation that we can get an evenly spaced year so that guys can be healthy and do their best. Turf or synthetic or grass itself, having consistency is sort of an established objective. And so now we have to get into the details as to what would it take to move those 17 fields to being closer to grass. So we've begun the discussion over the past year. I think we've got the attention of many of the owners and the league itself. And so I'd say even I was in Brazil, which was grass. It was also very slippery, which you may have seen during the game. So again, having consistency of surface and preferably in grass is where we want to be.
I think we all look with anticipation now to the NFLPA report cards that you guys send out. The Ravens did pretty well this year, but just kind of asking for like an ideal, like what's grade A stuff or like treatment of families. The Ravens didn't score high there. Training room, Ravens didn't score particularly high there. Team travel, like what does the best of the best look like from what you've been able to gather from talking to players? Yeah,
it's interesting. I think everyone wants straight A's. But the reality is in life, rarely does everyone get straight A's. And for ownership and teams that are always looking to improve, that's very consistent with what our members want. So in the case of the Ravens, and I spent a couple hours with the owner today, it's clear that Steve very much wants to be responsive to what the players are looking for and is making the right investments to do that. And that's very much the objective of the survey. It's not to shame an owner, but it is to reflect accurately how our members feel. They want to be in the best of the best working conditions. They want the best care. They want the best trainers, and they deserve it. And so for those owners and those clubs that are working to do that, usually it gets reflected every Sunday, Thursday, and Monday by their performance. And so there's no accident that the teams that have performed very well also do very well in the survey. Because you're motivated, you enjoy going to work, you enjoy your coach, you enjoy all the attributes of your experience. So we're going to continue. We're also looking to improve upon the surveys year over year. We're asking guys to prioritize what's important to them, how best they want to be communicated. And so all of that will be compiled over the course of the year, and you guys will see the results, February, I guess, or when we typically show it.
You guys are good. All right. Oh, I'm sorry.
One other, obviously there's been just a slew of record contracts for quarterbacks, and including here at the time. And there's sort of a tension between, hey, like a quarterback takes X amount of the salary cap. Meanwhile, not as much this year, but last year you had guys, especially at running back, holding out, hoping for better market forces. What are the NFLPA's ideas about resolving some of that tension when one position can get paid so much more than other folks who are kind of looking for better market rates at their positions?
Yeah, this is definitely not a quick response, and my man's going to give me the hook. But I would say for all of our players, they want to be paid and compensated based on their talent, their merit, and their performance. And a lot of what exists in the current construct, they feel limits them from getting to the free market. So whether you're a quarterback, running back, wide out, they say, hey, I'm going to bet on myself and I want to get paid commensurate with what I do and how I perform. And so rather than get trapped into a bit of a us-them prisoner's dilemma of like, well, if I benefit, then it hurts my teammate, That's not where our guys are at. They're very happy when they see a colleague make what they make. They just want to be rewarded as well, regardless of position. So a lot of our, the PA's position is to allow that and to facilitate that to happen. So over time, we'll get into what are the impediments to that, whether it's tags, whether it's the length of first contracts with an option year. Like, what does all that mean in terms of preventing the guys to get compensated the way they should get compensated?
If I could ask really quick, just really quick. You talked about
I thought you were gonna give me the
the long list of priorities,
Yeah.
and you also mentioned how the players, I should say, weigh into that. Is that how you approach a plan of attack when it comes to that, or are there other factors that go into
It's the starting point. Like, I wouldn't be doing my job, the PA wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't advocating on the priorities of our members. And so if we don't know what those priorities are, then I'm just shooting in the dark, or I'm saying what I believe but not what our members believe. So the reason I was brought on board is that was part of my commitment to them, is to be transparent and to accurately reflect what their priorities are. And so a lot of what I say to you guys is a reflection of that, and we'll be in a better position of clarity at the end of the season after I visited all 32 teams.
All right, thank you guys.
So we're really trying to really focus up so we can go out and put our best foot forward. Felt from the game, just in the very limited amount of plays that we played, I thought our guys played hard. They played physical. There's obviously some things that we're going to continue to work on, so we could just really try to improve how we go out there weekly. Questions?
With your first impressions, kind of the new kickoff, what's kind of your thoughts on that?
I like the play. I think it's an opportunity. I said this before. There's a ball being kicked off and there's a ball being tackled. That's football. So anytime that could happen, you give the guys on the field an opportunity to go play a play. Those guys are fired up. They're excited. So I feel pretty good about the play.
Not to be a little bit of an overreactor here, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of difference, and the Chiefs certainly seemed more willing to give up that 30 yards on the kickoffs. I mean, do you think that will change based on situations and various, scores of games?
I can't really speak for the other teams across the league. I think I said this last week. Every team's going to be different. Every team's going to do what they feel is best for their team, or they're going to do what they think they want to do, right, for the other coaches. But I think for us, any chance we get, I think to play the play, if I feel good about what we're putting out there, we'll continue to play the play.
Chris, you guys have made just one of your last 6 50-yard plus field goal attempts. Do you see any pattern to the operations on those kicks? Anything that you're concerned about going forward?
Not at all. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. I think the thing with Justin is always let's just play the next play, right? And I think when you think about those last 6 kicks, every kick's different, every situation's different, right? Every element is different. Obviously, the object is to get the ball between the goalposts, right? So when something doesn't go right, I think the one thing Justin does is he comes back, he looks at it, he sees what could he have done better. But I don't think there's anything to be concerned about, because I think every kick, when you look at those misses, they're different. Some of them were 67, some were at the end of the games, and things like that. So I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. He's in a good spot. He's still a heck of a kicker.
Chris, do you feel that there's concerns regarding maybe the protection unit since 2022? There's been 4 of the 50-plus attempts that have been blocked. Is there anything maybe just in the entire operation?
Again, no, not at all. I think again, when you look at the situations, if it's a colder day, right, the ball's going to be a little bit lower. So I think for us, man, we're just focusing on obviously being as good as we possibly can on that play. That's getting a field goal block, getting a punt block. Those are things that we want to see. Obviously, there's something that might have happened in those situations, but I don't think there's any concern with protection or anything like that.
How do you feel Jordan Stout punted game 1?
I thought Jordan was good. He had those 2 punts inside the 20. And again, we had very limited opportunities, right? And that's good. I encourage that. If you're only punting the ball twice, that means your offense is moving the ball, right? So I'm encouraging that. But then when he does go out there, he's doing a really good job. I thought he had a great spring and a great camp, and I think that's going to continue to carry over the more opportunities he get on the field.
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about when we heard you out there with the team, you have this call after you say hike. It's like, what is
That's
that?
a nervous tick.
Oh, okay.
That's a nervous. That's just me being excited, right? So when we're an individual and we're going, I go. If you notice, I'm right behind them when they're going. So it's a nervous tick. I've had it for forever, but this is about being intent and playing with some intensity.
George, obviously there's a very human element to what's transpired the last month. What has this process been like for you as far as the Ravens reaching out to you, joining the team, and just from a football standpoint, kind of joining this in the midst of it already being pretty ramped up?
That's a big question. First and foremost, I mean, the situation was tragic. Joe and I were both in the World League together. I'm not saying we were close friends, but we were very good acquaintances. If he had a question, he called me, I called him back. If I had a question, I called him, he called me back. So what happened here was tragic. The fact that John trusted me enough to call me, I'm impressed with that and grateful for that. But the situation I walked into, what Joe had done here, made it very, very easy. The group is well trained. They're very smart. They work their tails off. It's important to them. And that's what he did before I got here. That's what he built as a foundation. So the whole deal is tough, and we're just trying to make the best of it.
George, I mean, along those lines, I mean, how much of your job do you feel like is getting this offensive line kind of schematically ready to go, and how much is being there for guys who are probably pretty down still from loss?
Well, in terms of the football side of it, I mean, the situation doesn't matter. I mean, when you come in, you got to get guys ready to play, and the deal is you got to win games, right? In my opinion, for us to have a chance to win games, we have to be exceptional up front. We have to play hard, we got to play physical, we got to play smart. That's that part of it. The grief part of it, anybody that's dealt with death, I've dealt with it in my family. Everybody grieves differently. You just got to make yourself available to them when they're grieving. So I made myself available to them. If they need to call me, if there's certain guys that struggle, I'll reach out to them. But grief is different for every person that's dealing with it.
As far as the actual, the coaching aspect of it, and working with so many young players, I would expect the opportunity. You've got all these young pieces in some new spots, and trying to it's really a chance to mold and help these young men grow into what you want to be. What's that process been like so far?
The first thing was me just trying to figure out what the foundation was, right? What they've been taught, how they communicate, what the schemes are. I've got a pretty good feel for that now, and so now it's just a matter of me getting them to function the way I want them to function. Some aspects is different than Joe's. Some aspects is very much the same, but just getting them to buy into that and to go about it that way.
George, in a similar vein, we're just getting to know you. How would you describe your coaching philosophy?
Intent, aggressive, and we want to be dominant. And so when we're at practice, we want to practice in that manner. We're an individual, we want to go about it in that manner. And when we play football, we want to play football in that manner.
Did your background with Todd also mean you had sort of a natural rapport with him coming in?
I love Todd. I'm so impressed with him. I was impressed with him in Tampa, and I'm more impressed with him since I've been here. The job he's doing, he's much different than he was in Tampa, how he calls the game, how he looks at the offense. So yes, him being here helped me be here, and then him being here is helping me adjust quite a bit.
George, I know there's such a source of frustration in the game about these illegal formation penalties that you guys got dinged up. I mean, are you pretty confident after looking at that all that's behind you guys, more or less?
I certainly hope so. I would say that was my fault, though, because I knew they were going to be sticklers about it. I didn't know how big a stickler there was going to be. All right? I mean, I thought in practice we had done a pretty good job of being legal, and apparently we didn't do a good enough job. So before I blame our players, it's my responsibility to make sure we're doing it right, and I didn't do a good enough job in that regard.
Beyond that element, what did you like about the offensive line's performance week one, and what would you like to see a focus on it cleaning up for going into week two?
I love the mentality and how we played. I thought they were physical. I thought they played the whole game. They never blinked, which gave us a chance at the end to have a chance to take it into overtime. I think technically we had to clean up some stuff. Those aren't big cleanups. It's just being consistent with footwork, being consistent with hand placement, and straining to finish a little bit more.
George, it looked like the Raiders spent a lot of time in week one lining up Christian Wilkins next to Max Crosby and over the right side of the line. Just how imposing a challenge is that, and what do you guys need to do to meet you?
Those are good players. I mean, and sometimes there's not much you can do but block them, right? So with 98, right, Crosby, they're going to move him all over the place. So it's based on the defense, based on the call, based on what they're in. He does like to play on the right side, and I'd say he's probably over there 75 to 80% of the time, but he will be on the left side. 94 is a good player as well. So we're going to do our best to scheme any way we can get to him to help those guys out. But at the end of the day, when it's third down and we're throwing the ball, we can't worry about where those guys are. We're going to worry about how we go about our business and us blocking.
With the new offensive line, how do you think it kind of held up on that first game this year?
Good. I'm excited moving forward. You know, so there's a lot to build on, really, to be honest, with all the guys that play.
You so often hear week 1 to week 2, especially for young players, the room for improvement is really, you often see really big jumps. Do you expect that this week from what you've seen?
I do. We saw it last year from us. I can't speak to other teams, but I can speak from the Texans games, the Bengals game on the road. We were significantly better, significantly cleaner. Our operation was better. Our execution was better. Time will tell, but we had a great practice today. So I'm excited to see, where we've come in a couple days.
Todd, you said there's a lot to build on. What are some of the things that you saw that make you hopeful going into week 2?
Just being cleaner. That's probably as much as anything. I mean, what makes it hard to stack plays, penalties, missed assignments. Calls got to be better. I got to do it better during the week because the points didn't match the yards. You need to have it match. It's about points, not about yards.
It looked like Lamar was pretty active before the snap with all the pointing and using the pre-snap weapons that he has available. I guess just from your kind of view, how did he do in getting you guys into that best play that you have on the menu?
He was great. He did a great job. Really tough environment, for all of us. To start the year off there, loud, silent cadence. I thought he did a great job. I thought all the guys handled it. We weren't clean by any means where we want to be, but from that standpoint, I thought he did a great job, and the guys did a great job.
We were asking John earlier this week about Roger Rosengarten. He said it makes sense to kind of keep developing him, especially in these early weeks. Obviously, I'm sure you worry about him facing elite pass rushers like he did against Chris Jones last week, but does the staff feel like it's part of the process to expose him to some of these elite pass rushers?
Some of that. Roger's going to be a heck of a football player. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So we got to continue to develop him, keep getting him in the game. He's going to get out here every day and practice against a really good defensive line, and we're going to continue to see growth. We really don't want any of our guys on an island against a great pass rusher, so he's not the only one. We got to do a great job of changing protections and chipping and doing all the things you have to do against some of the elite players in this league.
Did the tight end partnership kind of work the way you wanted it to, where Mark got double teamed a lot, so Lamar has a big game with
Well, there was no thought that that's how it would turn out.
Right.
Did we intend on playing the tight ends a bunch? Yes. Did we anticipate we'd have that amount of snaps? No. We didn't anticipate that. And that's not the norm. You're not going to have 80 snaps or something like that in a given game, per se. But I think we do a really good job of trying to find ways to distribute the ball, and we're going to have to continue to do that. We've got a number of excellent skill players that deserve to get the ball, and that's what we're trying to do. Sometimes the ball just finds them, and sometimes the game goes that way. We didn't have a ton of 2 minutes last year. We had 2 in that game, and they were extended 2 minutes. I mean, there was probably a total of 15 snaps in 2 minutes, which at that point, the wideouts are happy and the running backs aren't happy. And when you're winning, the running backs are happy and the wideouts aren't happy. So that's just the way it goes. And that's the way it works in this business. The good news is we have a lot of really talented skill guys that give you a lot of opportunity to move to spread the ball around.
All good?
Thank you, Coach. Zach, for week 1, obviously you guys had the coverage mix up for the second touchdown with Worthy, but how do you think communication went as far as getting the call in the Roquan and everything you guys like to do pre-snap defensively?
I thought it was all right. I don't think it was good enough. I don't think it was up to our standard, and me personally, just I look at it as a coach, you gotta look at yourself first. So, I take full responsibility of that. And, we look forward to the challenge of responding and doing things to our standard. But it was okay. But, here in Baltimore, okay is not good enough. So, it's a learning experience for myself and for everybody. And we look forward to getting out there Sunday, righting our wrongs.
What did you learn from that experience? Obviously, first time in that spot, like you just said, that you sort of put some of it on yourself. What's your biggest takeaway from learning week 1 to week 2?
I'll just say, man, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Felt like, try to do too much in certain situations and, it costs us to play a little slow. Man, we got great players here. Just allow them to go out there, play fast, do their thing, and everything's going to be all right.
John pointed to the substitutions in particular as an issue. Was that an area where you think you maybe could have simplified a little bit, or where did you come away on that?
Definitely. We had a couple different personnel groups going in, and credit to the Chiefs. They did some things that were kind of messing with us a little bit, but I definitely feel like the substitution thing could definitely get cleaned up, because I look at it like we cost us 2 timeouts that we could have used towards the end of the game that offense could have used. So it was, like I said, it was a learning experience and something we learned from.
Obviously not really surprised that Trenton didn't play the percentage of snaps that PQ did last year. Still some really good plays, like deflection in the fourth quarter. Is the intention to get Trenton, develop him to a level where he can be sort of an every down linebacker?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Trent did a heck of a job in the game. Like you said, he made some plays, especially in key moments. That third down play was big, gave us a chance to go down either tie or win the game. And I think, like I said, he's going into his second year, and he's going to continue to play more and more as we get going.
What do you want to see from him to get that trust in that role?
Just keep coming out here working. We got a lot of good players, and a lot of them are going to play.
Similarly, we saw Nate Reigns put a little bit more in defense in the game, but not too much. What does he need to do to get more of those snaps for
Nate's gonna be fine. Nate's gonna play a lot of football for us. He's gonna play a lot of great football for us. So I think, just like you say, just continue, like I said with Trent, just continue to come in and continue to work. And he played well in the game as well. So the better he plays, the more he's gonna be out there. But Nate's gonna play a lot of football for us.
I know there's a lot more to it, but what is it like to see a guy like David Ojabo, who's labored the way he did, kind of come out with some pass rushing success early in that game?
I'm proud of Ja, man. Like, Ja, all he's done is work so hard to get back. I mean, he's came back earlier than what people thought he was going to be back. And the biggest thing, like I said, with him is just staying healthy. He's very talented. When he plays, he's productive. You guys saw that on last Thursday. So I think he's been doing a heck of a job with his body, his mindset, approaching practice, approaching his prehab, making sure that he can stay as healthy as possible. And like I said, as long as he's healthy and he's on the field, he's going to play real good football for us. And I think we got just a glimpse of what he's going to be for us this year.
Zach, see how much that meant to him after getting that sack. I mean, he was very emotional and celebratory, and what does that mean to a guy like this?
I mean, it means a lot to him. I mean, you can just imagine a guy who's come in with high expectations, who hasn't been able to play a lot just for things that are out of his control. I mean, you can't really control a lot of injuries he's had, and for 2 years he's had to sit on the sideline and watch, and I'm pretty sure hear all the noise about him and how he's not been out there. So we love it. We love that he expressed himself. We love that he was fired up, and he's already an energetic guy. So after that sack, I'm pretty sure all the emotions just came out of him.
Zach, we asked you heading into the game, what you expected it to be like calling your first game in a real game. Now that you've done it, were there any takeaways from you from week 1 aside from the substitution stuff?
I would say that it happens faster. It happens a lot faster in the regular season than the preseason, which I try to anticipate, but I just said you don't know until you know. So now I kind of get a gauge of real regular season speed, and like I said, it's something that I've learned from, and look forward to getting better this week coming up.
Is there some relief thinking about sort of the curve of NFL offenses? I mean, you're going against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in week 1. It doesn't get more challenging than that. I mean, is there some relief from everything else I can handle?
Nah, there's no relief. It's a week-to-week league, man. And like I said, I respect every single player and coach in this league. I respect every offense in this league, and every game is different in its own. So you don't know what you're going to have to do to come away with a win in this game. So it's not a relief. Like I said, what happened, now we're looking forward to his next challenge. We know it's a good football team coming in here. They feeling probably the same way we felt after losing, so we expecting them to give us their best shot.
Zach, talking about the Raiders, they were pretty efficient offensively, except for the turnovers. I was, in looking at their, do you think, all right, well, there's ways to help maybe continue that trend and force those, or otherwise, what is the key to trying to keep them from being as efficient as they were?
Yeah, I think we have to try to limit the explosive plays. Like, we gave up too many explosive plays in week 1. We have to limit those. They have great playmakers. We have to be able to cover their skill and then stop the run. So I think we stopped the run and cover their skill. Obviously, you speak about Devontae Adams. He's one of the top receivers this league has. And then, they got some good young pieces as well, good running back, solid offensive line. So we have to limit the explosive plays, make them have to go down the field and make them have to drive the ball. And then if the ball's in the air, it's opportunities for us to take it away. We have to take the football away.
I think a lot of people, when they took Bowers, kind of expected him to be a 12 personnel team, but I think Bowers and Mayer only got like 15 snaps together. I guess what kind of stuck out to you about maybe how they use their personnel in week 1?
I thought they probably would play more 12 personnel, 13 personnel, but like I said, it's week to week, so they could come out and flip the script this week. So we're preparing for that. We're preparing for what they did in the first game as well.